Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.15. The smell of smoke. We are back.
We are back, and it's been quite a while, hasn't it, readers?
Half a week.
No.
Call me Oda because I'm taking so many breaks.
I call you Oda because you definitely didn't
No,
put
no,
the
no, no,
effort
don't call me Oda. Don't call me Oda.
Wait. Yeah, the slander for your goat has been immense lately.
Why is he my goat?
You would once call Oda your goat, but now even the old
When have I ever
fans...
called Oda my... I don't think I've even really mentioned
His reputation has been so torched.
Yeah, it's the PR disaster, the downfall. The Oda situation is crazy.
Yeah, me when I haven't taken out the trash. But this is enough about Oda. We're here about Tanhone, who's like the second Oda.
I'm not the second Oda.
In many ways.
This
Each
is
more
fucked.
disturbing than the last.
What is this fuck?
But
I want to be Iraqi. I'd rather be Iraqi.
You're kind of like Iraqi. You forgot what you were doing with the story.
I did not forget. I can't forget.
I know. I'm being really mean for no reason right
I know,
now.
he's been so mean because he's tired. He forgot how much he likes
It's
me.
because I'm actually really excited to talk to you. It's been so long. I missed you.
There's
I'm
the
being extra
load-bearing pillar of his communication is insults.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
You're like some sort of imp.
I am. But this isn't about me and my devilish heritage. This is
And you
about
also have a personality
17.15.
similar to one too.
Yeah, it's true. That's why they call me Imper.
Did he call you that?
Yeah.
Wow.
The sky was flickering. The damage from the battle between Negan Rush and Lucifer Westmore had been immediate. Broken glass came down like snow over the forest, settling in the leaves and scratching at Hazley's skin as it landed. She hid under the hefty branches of a tree to avoid the worst of the deluge, and even then she could already feel the stinging all over her body. The sky turned red, blue, green, pink, the lights in the far-off ceiling switching between various different settings as they malfunctioned from the damage. Finally, they settled on a harsh and unnatural white, like the light of heaven had come to scorch the world clean. All of Ward 8 was made sterile in an instant. Bang! Slam! Crash! The ground shook. The trees above trembled, leaves drifting down. Hazley clung onto the roots of the tree with all she had, her eyes wide as she stared straight ahead into the undergrowth. It was nearly impossible to believe that all this was the result of a mere sword fight. It felt more like they were trying to blow each other up with bombs. This was what the power called Aether was capable of. This was not what a fight between humans should have been like. Hazley waited for the chaos to abate, and, when it became clear that it would not, she slowly picked herself up on trembling legs. It was just like Negan had said. She had to get out of here. She could hardly believe the words she'd said just a few minutes ago. "I'll stay," she'd said. How could she have been so stupid? She'd had no idea what she was talking about. If she'd stayed, she knew now, she had no doubt that she'd be dead, her body unrecognizable. The image of it flashed in her mind, the pile of meat that could have been her. As the tremors below lessened just a little, she took her chance and went to run, only to skid to a halt immediately. Someone was emerging from the undergrowth right in front of her. No, two people. Two people she recognized the moment she saw them. Two people anyone in Zipan would have recognized. The leader of the Unseelie, hero of the city, One Star. Even as he walked through the forest, he had his eyes closed, a serene smile on his lips, and his long orange hair tied into a regal-looking braid. People said that his vision was so good that he didn't even need to open his eyes to see, but Hazley didn't get how they worked. Besides, that was the least of her concerns right now. One Star was pushing a wheelchair, and sitting in that wheelchair was the second person that anyone in Zipan would recognize. The director of the Pandershi Foundation, creator and ruler of all that Hazley had ever known, Zephyr Pandershi. Oh, so I'm guessing it's before his youth surgery? Graham Plink had shown Hazley pictures of Pandershi during the time of the Revolution. A tall, heroic-looking man with curly white hair and orange hair and gleaming amber eyes, usually holding up a flag as he led the charge against the foreman. That had been so many years ago, though, and the director was now an old man. He had pioneered an anti-aging surgery and even used it on himself several times, but the signs of age always seemed to return before long. It was like he was bungee jumping between young and old. The person who looked at Hazley from the wheelchair was unsettlingly timeless. His white and orange hair was long, hanging over his face like a sheet, with only a single parting to reveal an eye in the corner of his mouth.
It's crazy that I wrote this right before they revealed Absolute Two-Face.
Interesting, curious.
No, they took it from me. This was written 2 weeks ago.
His hands were nearly skeletal, fingernails overgrown, until they nearly matched the length of his fingers, which gripped onto the arms of the wheelchair with all the strength they could muster, which didn't seem to be much. Withered as he was in this state, it seemed like Zephyr Pandershi couldn't even walk under his own power. And yet, Hazley couldn't shake the feeling that, any second now, he would leap out of that chair and chase her down. The closest thing to God on Nermut smiled thinly. "Hello, Hazley," he said, as if they were old friends. "Don't worry. Don't be afraid. All of this will be over soon enough." Aetheral Space, 17.15. The smell of smoke. The forest was burning. All around the barely visible shapes that were Negan Rush and Lucifer Westmore, the trees were bursting into flame. Ash danced through the air. Scorched footsteps left their mark in the grass. Even from far away, a pillar of smoke would lead anyone seeking them out to this battleground. This was not the result of a power the combatants were using. Neither of them were pyrokinetics after all, but rather a side effect of their sheer speed. Both of them had long ago broke through the limits of living flesh, and the rest of the world lagged behind their skill. In terms of swordsmanship, Negan Rush was an insurmountable wall. Each strike he unleashed consisted in reality of dozens of strikes, an optical illusion generated by the swiftness of his swings. He cut through everything as if it were nothing at all. The trees, the flame, the smoke, the air, all of it cleanly bisected, so cleanly it barely even seemed real. If he were fighting anyone else, this battle would have ended before the first spark had hit the ground. But this was Lucifer Westmore, and where Negan excelled at swordsmanship, Lucifer excelled at trickery. Westmore packed as many feints into an instant as Negan did slashes, and when it came to fighting, he used every dirty trick in the book. As he fought Negan, he took every effort to ensure the harsh lights above were shining directly into his opponent's eyes, and when that wasn't possible, he tossed sand at them himself. He even peppered in his ability between attacks, blasting transmissions of foreign trauma into his enemy's mind to create instants of hesitation. Any and every advantage was greedily seized. As the illegitimate child of an illegitimate child, that was the way he'd lived his life since the moment of his birth. Wait a minute. Pause. Is Lucifer Nyane's kid?
Eh?
What do you mean, eh?
Interesting theory.
Is it correct?
Why would I tell you?
I don't know, because I got it right and you're impressed with me. Lucifer's aether tick echoed throughout the trees, his Olo aether letting out the eerie laughter of countless disembodied voices. Another distraction to add to the pile, the volume of the laughter growing louder with the ferocity of his movements. Even with all that, though, all it meant, I assume, was that Lucifer was just... Hang on. All it meant was that Lucifer was just barely able to survive. In a contest of swordsmanship, Negan would easily win, and Lucifer had no delusions otherwise. As Negan unleashed a series of slashes that practically formed a solid sphere around his own body, Lucifer dodged backwards. There wasn't a wasted movement as Lucifer seized one of the few chances he'd been presented with. He spun one of his batons upwards, holding it next to his face like he was carefully aiming a sniper rifle at his enemy. His voice was cold, all previous levity abandoned, as he hissed, "Kill him, Plutus." Negan blinked, and when his eye opened again, the enemy's blade was a fingernail's length away from it. For all that he had disgraced the position, Lucifer Westmore had once been one of the 7 blades of the turning of the air. The most basic qualification was that he wielded a blade. His batons, collectively named Plutus, each had a concealed ice pick-like blade built into the base of the handle. When Lucifer pulled the hidden triggers, those blades were able to stretch across meters in quite literally the blink of an eye. They were like the fangs of a serpent, thirsty for blood. 9 times out of 10, that blade would have pierced its target's brain and ended their life. But Negan Rush knew only the 10th world. His blade, a cutting point of light, danced through the air and deflected the strike before it could cross that last centimeter. Narrowing his eyes, Negan glared across the clearing at Lucifer. Plutus's blade retracted just as quickly as it had extended. "Tell me," Negan said. "I'm sure you didn't get me just now, since I can still see. How many strikes have I landed on you?" Lucifer stretched, his usual relaxed demeanor returning. "What are you even talking about, Rushman?" He chuckled. "It'd be pretty obvious if one of us got a hit, right? You'd be able to tell right away. I guess we must just be evenly matched, huh?" "Areopagitica," Negan replied, unblinking. "Aero what now?" Lucifer smirked. "It's the passive version of your ability, isn't it?" Negan said, slowly beginning to circle Lucifer around the edge of the clearing. His sword was still in his hand, thirsty for execution. "As the one fighting you, I can't retain any memories of me landing a successful strike on you, or you landing a successful strike on me. That way, the longer the fight goes on, the more my understanding gets desynchronized from the reality. Most injuries I wouldn't be able to notice, but I doubt your power can keep a missing eye from me." He stopped, raising his sword once more. "There were some dodges back there I thought unlikely," Negan murmured. "You've slowed down a little, too. Is that blood loss or exhaustion? I would say that I've hit you 3 times so far. Well, Mr. Westmore?" If Negan had hit the nail on the head, the nail didn't seem too bothered by it. He just sighed theatrically, flapping his wrists this way and that as he waved a hand. "You keep going on about this aereo power, Rushman," he said. "I don't really get it. Makes it so you forget stuff? Man, that sounds pretty tough. But you're thinking you've hit me 3 times? That wouldn't be that crazy, I guess. You're pretty tough after all. But I think you're missing the forest for the trees here, Rushman. Hey, we're in a forest. That's pretty good." He laughed, full of cheer, leaning against a sturdy tree even as it was consumed by flames. As his laughter trailed off, fading into the resolve of a killer, those eyes of black looked right into the soul of Negan Rush. "The question isn't how many times you've hit me, Rushman. It's how many times have I hit you." "Are you frightened?" Zephyr Pandershi asked, his voice faint and oddly youthful. "That's quite all right. Nobody will ever hurt you. You have my guarantee. I would never allow that." Hazley swallowed as she looked at the faded amber of Director Pandershi's eye. She didn't know why it felt like such a shock to see him before her. She'd seen him dozens of times a day, at doors and sinks and fridges. She'd declared love for him just like everyone else. She'd said it enough times that she'd started to wonder if she meant it. Now, though, looking into that eye, she felt a repulsion that went down to her bones. "You are frightened," Pandershi sighed. "Ah, that's not good. That's not good at all. Is it this face? This ravaged, hideous, ugly, ugly face of mine?" Slowly muted by the circumstances, Hazley shook her head.
Oh, yeah.
Even if she tried to speak, she doubted the words would make their way out of her throat. "I see." Pandershi slowly closed his eye. "It must be that man, then. It is, isn't it? That awful man that broke into our heaven. What did he tell you? He's a criminal on the outside, you know. A wanted killer. Did he tell you that? I bet not."
Me when I lie.
As Pandershi went on and on, more to himself than anything else, One Star leaned in from behind. "Sir," the leader of the Unseelie said softly, "if you wish to observe the fight between those two, it's best we not delay." "Quite right," Pandershi nodded vaguely, with as much gusto as his body could manage. "Let's be off then, One Star. Lucifer will not fail me. I wish to see the conclusion." It was as if he'd already forgotten Hazley was there entirely. Pandershi leaned back in his wheelchair without another word as One Star took him through the forest, past Hazley and towards the sounds of battle. Neither he nor his second-in-command spared Hazley a glance. Right now, their only focus was on... "You're a liar!" shouted Hazley. She blinked. Huh? Who had said that? Her? No way. She wasn't that stupid, was she? She'd been real loud, too. Her own voice was echoing back at her, just as it must have been echoing all throughout the forest. You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, she had. She'd said it without meaning to, and now the world was saying it back to her, again and again and again. Pandershi had stopped. What did you say? He didn't look back at her as he spoke, but Hazley could imagine the cold fury in that one eye. From the moment Hazley had been born, Zephyr Pandershi had been the god of her world. Until now, she hadn't fully appreciated that he could be a vengeful god. Her voice cracked. The last echo came back to interrupt her. You're a liar. Her mouth was done. Her mouth was done talking, surely. She begged it for that to be true. But a second later it opened again and spoke again. You're a liar! She screamed again. Hazley's mouth kept moving, even as panic flared in her brain. You're a liar! You're a liar! Don't tell lies about Negan! He's a good guy! He's here to fight the bad guys! You're a bad guy! Shut up! How many times had she told this person she loved him? She'd seen his face so many times, and she'd spoken those words so many times. I love you, I love you, I love you. Everyone had declared their love for Zephyr Pandershi countless times, just for the sake of living their lives. And now, meeting him face to face for the first time, Hazley could only think one thing. Oh, I hate this guy. Silence finally settled on the forest clearing. Not just quiet, but a death shroud. Pandershi stared at Hazley with the wide and inhuman eye of a doll. To think, he murmured, one of my own. It would have been better if Pandershi had shouted. If he'd thrown himself from his chair, spittle flying from his lips as he hurled curses at her, that would have been something she could see the end of. That quiet monotone, though. Hazley couldn't imagine what was going on in the head of that genius. That was the most frightening thing. 1 star. Hey now, don't you have somewhere else to be, Zeffy? The cheerful voice was a stark contrast to the tension that had been building in the forest, and from the way Pandershi's shoulders relaxed, it seemed like it had very nearly succeeded in banishing it entirely. Indeed, when he looked over his shoulder, which seemed to take quite a bit of effort, there was no murderous glint in his eye. The corner of his mouth wrinkled in a strained smile. So you've come, Puck, he said quietly. The terror that had been holding Hazley still abated. Just a little, and she turned her head to follow Pandershi's gaze. Just as the old man had said, the mascot Puck was standing amongst the trees, its metal frame and blank smile utterly unsuited to the natural environment around them. It advanced, its footsteps making cartoonish pop, pop, pop noises. You have business with Negan Rush, don't you, Zeffy? Puck chirped. Do you really have time to waste on something like this? Pandershi smiled thinly. It didn't reach his eye. Time doesn't matter to me, Puck. You know that. Zepan is my Neverland. The sight behind him made those words seem absurd. The battle between Negan Rush and Lucifer Westmore had reached a level of destruction far beyond what two beings should be capable of. In the distance, Hazley could see mountains of dirt and countless trees being hurled up into the air by sheer proximity to their clash. That's so true, Zeffy! Puck giggled, ignoring the spectacle before it. But, maybe you're too good at finding talented people? I think that nebula of yours might finish off Negan Rush before you even get the chance to take a look at him. Pandershi narrowed his eye, and Puck pressed further. It'll be a pain if Negan Rush dies here, right? If he goes missing for much longer, the Supremacy will start looking, and they'll be able to track him here. You're not ready to discard the UAP yet, right? Isn't it better to keep things nice and quiet here? You have that bluff you can use, don't you, Zeffy? For a moment, Pandershi's eye narrowed further, and it looked like his gaze might even turn hostile, until he suddenly relaxed. The smile on his lips became just a tad softer as he looked at Puck with what seemed like genuine warmth. A low, hoarse chuckle trickled from his throat. As the one who's known me longest, I suppose it's no surprise you're nearly able to follow my train of thought, Puck. It's just as you say. I need Negan Rush to leave this place on peaceful terms. Knowing his character, there's a very easy way to do that. Gosh, I guess you'd better hurry then, Puck murmured. If the fight goes too far, nobody knows what will happen, huh? Trying to manipulate me, Pandershi muttered, smirking wryly. Very well, I'll allow it. Wait here with Hazley until I return. Puck's next words were far more robotic than those that had come before. As you say, Director. Popcorn.
The shape of the land was changing. The trees around Negan Rush and Lucifer Westmore suffered ill fates one after another. They were shredded with blades, hurled away like confetti, blasted apart by air pressure. Chips of wood came down like sleet, and even they were destroyed where they came too close to the ongoing battle. This was a clash between blades, after all. Nothing could approach without being cut. Only one of the combatants no longer seemed to have any blades. Negan Rush realized with a start that the man barely managing to dodge the attacks now had empty hands. There was no way that Negan would have missed him dropping Plutus. No, he must have forgotten. Had Lucifer timed the relinquishment of his weapons to be at the same instant as him being hit by an attack, so the memory would be erased too as collateral damage? It would be an outrageous exploitation of his ability, but if anyone was capable of it, it would be the Changeling. The problem wasn't how Lucifer had done it, though. The problem was what he intended to do next. Negan moved his head back slightly, and avoided the strike that would have killed him. A long needle-like blade had suddenly thrust itself out of the burning undergrowth around them, aimed right for Negan's temple. Before he could blink, the blade retracted, disappearing into the smoke once more. And then, from another angle, there was another blade. Prepared this time, Negan parried the attack with his sword at the same time as he kicked at Lucifer's stomach, but the Changeling dodged the blow, leaping backwards. Before Lucifer even hit the ground, another blade had come to end Negan's life. Another casual swing of his sword deflected that, but it still wasn't the end. Blades expanded and retracted without end, their speed increasing, coming for Negan from every angle. His sword moved. Again. I see, Negan thought. It's not that he's planning to do something, he's already done it. Lucifer's weapons, Plutus, were just as much automatics as they were implements. They'd snapped the frames outwards into segmented forms, allowing them to slither across the ground and rapidly reposition themselves as they assaulted Negan automatically. In the tiny intervals between strikes, they could reposition themselves entirely. Negan was immobilized by the onslaught, his sword becoming a blur as he rapidly continued to block each and every attack. His grey eyes carefully observed. As far as he could tell, each baton was attacking around 16 times a second, so 32 strikes a second for both weapons together. Light work. That wasn't the only concern, though. The two Plutus truly were revolving around the battlefield at an incredible speed, a speed so absurd that they were beginning to generate air pressure in their wake. As they struck and struck and struck, they weaved a tornado, the flames being sucked up to form a blazing firestorm. The blades, the wind, the flames. Negan leapt from rubble to rubble as the firestorm picked up speed, keeping himself out of the spurting flames, continuing to block the stabs as he went. Even surrounded by walls of fire imposed upon by chaos, Negan continued to keep up. 32 blocks a second, constantly positioning. These were well within his capabilities. Lycidax! Lucifer had disappeared at some point, but he was clearly up to something. The fact that he continued blasting Negan with the active version of his ability was proof of that. False memories of his own death bubbled to the top of Negan's mind, intrusive thoughts designed to induce hesitation. They would find no purchase within him. High above, the sky shone with broken colours. All around, the world roared with the flames of hell. Dancing, stretching light stretched forth to attack again and again and again, and the finest swordsman of humanity kept pace of it all. This was a battle of few witnesses, but even so the display was surely one of Negan Rush's masterpieces. Until it was obvious what Lucifer Westmore was after. He had determined that he couldn't beat Negan Rush in a straight fight, even though that should have been obvious already. Negan's offence was too absolute, his offence too monstrous. If Lucifer had any chance of victory, it would be via assassination, a single decisive strike. For that, he needed an opening. Perhaps he had hoped that Plutus alone would be enough to provide that. Perhaps when that failed, he thought the firestorm would suffice. Perhaps when Negan effortlessly adapted even to that, desperation drove him to deploy his ability again and again. Whatever dark hopes curdled within his heart, they were meaningless. No such opening had appeared. Until it came flying out of the smog, small and spherical, the most basic instrument for this kind of strategy, a flashbang. In any other situation, Negan Rush would have cut in half before his brain could even finish processing the visual information. Right now, though, with everything else happening, it was a straw that broke the camel's back. Bang! Negan Rush flinched for just a fraction of a second. He continued blocking the blades, he continued avoiding the flames, but for just an instant the focus that had been at 100% was instead at 99%. That 1% was where Lucifer Westmore crawled. The changeling burst out of the flames, charging directly through the most dangerous point to stop Negan from predicting it, and lunged at his opponent. This was the closest thing to an opening one could get against Negan Rush, and even then it was very nearly not enough. Very nearly not enough, it should be. Negan's sword slashed automatically through the air, and even with all that was happening, Lucifer Westmore was only barely able to dodge a strike that would have cut his left ear clean off. His momentum terminal, Nebula 4 took the final step into Negan Rush's range and planted his hand directly in the centre of his enemy's chest. Paradise lost! Westmore roared. Go on.
Sorry, you caught me mid-drink of water.
There it is.
His Olo Aether roared too, a cacophony of laughter, like he just told the funniest joke in the world. And with a mighty push, Lucifer sent Negan skidding backwards through the dirt. The stabbing stopped. The winds faded. The fires died. Lucifer Westmore stood there, panting for breath, looking across the wasteland they'd created at his enemy. The slightest smirk of relief tugged at his lips. Negan Rush's expression, on the other hand, was pure confusion. His brow furrowing, he turned on the spot, slowly taking in the destruction around him as if he were seeing it for the first time. In an act of insanity for a warrior, he sheathed his sword. Lucifer reached into his belt, pulling free a capsule of panacea and dabbing it against the side of his head, where his left ear had been cleanly cut off.
I barely dodged it. He was like, "Ow, my fucking ear!"
A flower of new ears sprouted from the wound, fusing and diffusing until equilibrium was reached, a fresh ear settling in its proper place like nothing had happened. Lucifer's expression had changed. Even with what must have been the agonizing pain of regeneration, his face was completely slack, void of emotion. "You can't hear me anymore," he said calmly, "but I guess I'll explain it anyway. Paradise Lost," which is a funny ability for a guy named Lucifer to have, "has completely erased my existence from your memory. The whole reason you came here was because of me, so you're probably wondering where the hell you are right now, huh, Rushman?" Lucifer's words would not reach Negan Rush. He knew that. After being hit by Paradise Lost, this man was not permitted to retain any memories of Lucifer Westmore at all. The instant Lucifer's voice was registered by Negan's brain, the information would be erased. Is that permanent, or does it only last till he's gone?
It's limited in time.
Right now, as far as his opponent was concerned, Lucifer Westmore did not exist. Cracking his neck, Lucifer reached his hands out, and dutiful Plutus leaped into his grip from both sides of the scorched undergrowth. He flipped the batons, once, twice, his gaze fixed on Negan the whole time, as if considering something. I assume those are counting as him holding so he can't see them either?
Yeah.
His eyes were dull, his mouth a flat line. "This world is a pretty dull place, don't you think, Rushman?" he asked quietly to a man who could no longer answer. "I definitely do. I've seen it from all sorts of different angles, and I'm not a fan. It's way too dark and cold. I gotta slither over to where it's warm, man. It's the only thing for me." He lifted a hand, letting the baton dangle from his thumb, and smiled softly as Olo Aether sparked across his palm. It giggled. "Pretty damn warm, right?" he said. Whatever kind of introspection that was, it ended just as quickly as it had begun. The thin, sly grin returned to his face as he flipped the baton back into his hand, pointing it directly at the baffled Negan Rush. The galaxy's finest swordsman had just turned his back, looking out at the bottled world of Ward 8. His back turned, huh? Well, it seemed appropriate. "In the end, you were boring too, huh?" Wait, was Negan boring, man?
Aetheral Space readers, when they get hit by the reading comprehension power, he's boring too, he just said. He's from the same clan, maybe, but learn to
see.
read, okay?
A sibling to boring man.
Yeah, it's like Japanese, the surname is first.
Too boring. Lucifer Westmore pushed the trigger. The blade stretched across space, and Negan Rush's hand moved. He didn't turn to look. He didn't so much as blink. With the ease of slapping away a fly, Negan Rush simply reached behind his back and caught the needle-like blade before it could stab him in the back. Silver aether coursing around his hand, he held it tightly, holding it in place, preventing it from fully extending. Lucifer blinked. Huh? Your ability, Negan said slowly, still facing away, is to erase yourself from my consciousness, isn't it? Hey! Lucifer chuckled, even as a bead of sweat dribbled down his forehead. Hey! How the hell? My breathing and pulse are accelerated. Negan interrupted. My sword has heated up from movement. The signs of destruction are all around me. Clearly a battle just took place there. I don't know how I got here, but I know that at least is true. Oh, Lucifer realized. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Negan Rush hadn't interrupted him just now. How could he have? He couldn't hear a word Lucifer was saying. Paradise Lost was still in effect. Lucifer was disappearing from Negan's cognition the instant he was recorded. No, Negan hadn't seen, heard, or perceived Lucifer with any of his senses at all. The master of the sword had simply observed the world around him and realized where the hole was. I am in what looks like the aftermath of a battle, Negan continued, holding onto the blade with all his strength, and yet no corpse lies before me. Therefore, the battle hasn't ended yet. We're still fighting, aren't we, you and I? You hit me with this ability so you could set up a killing blow. His lips curled into a smirk. I'm holding on to something right now, aren't I? He asked the empty air. I can't tell what it is, but I can guess. You were going to use this to kill me, weren't you? How foolish. Even if I can't register your existence, I can feel the movements of the air. Did you really think you could bring a blade close to me without me noticing? Slowly, he turned to look over his shoulder, his gray eyes staring across the length of the blade and right through Lucifer. You're right over there, he murmured, eyes half-lidded, smiling like a reaper. Aren't you? For the first time in many years, a shiver went down Lucifer Westmore's spine, and his usual sly grin spread out further into something wide and ferocious. Ha! 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 You cackled gleefully. What?
What? I don't know what I did there.
He cackled gleefully, flipping his other baton to aim right for his enemy's forehead. Oh, man, you really are something else, Negan Rush! His thumb pushed down on the trigger. Westmore. Enough. Only to relax as he heard the voice of his employer. "Aw, man," Lucifer repeated, sighing. All the excitement had drained out of him, leaving him looking somewhat deflated. It was just about to get good, too. What's up, Pandershi, man? Lucifer turned his head to look as one star wheeled Pandershi's wheelchair through the devastated battle. Negan, too, turned to look. Even if he couldn't perceive Lucifer Westmore, he could see these two perfectly well. Zephyr Pandershi, Negan said cautiously, one hand still on his sword as the other held on to Plutus. I take it we're on Nermut, then. Pandershi's eye slid over to regard Lucifer. Release your ability. Negotiations will be difficult otherwise. Lucifer grimaced. Seriously? It doesn't last forever anyway. Just do as you are told. That is our arrangement, after all. Fine, Lucifer muttered, returning his free baton to his hip. Whatever you say. Paradise reclaimed. Does he get all his memories back that he had of Lucifer?
Yeah.
Olo Aether chuckled. The effect was instantaneous. I just imagine, by the way, every time it's going off, the happy mask salesman laughter.
It's kind of like that. It's creepy laughter, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
It's
like
a
echoing. Negan's head swung around to face Lucifer once more, and the blade in his hand rose with deadly resolve. For a second, it looked like he might just ignore the new arrivals and lunge at Lucifer to restart the battle. But caution won out. Still facing Lucifer, he glanced over at Pandershi. What is this? He growled. The corner of Pandershi's lip twitched in a feeble attempt at a smile. What do you mean? You came here to meet with my friend Lucifer in the first place, didn't you? I thought it would be nice if you had the opportunity to get everything out before you left. Negan scoffed. You think I'm satisfied with just this, old man? Pandershi's eye narrowed at those last few words, but his tone remained cordial. I was certainly hoping so. You would say otherwise. This rogue must be dispatched, not merely engaged, Negan spat, before pointing his sword in Pandershi's direction. And I've seen the world you've constructed, Zephyr Pandershi. I dislike it. I'll be dismantling that too before I leave. Pandershi clasped his withered hands on his lap. How strange, he murmured. Despite your profession, Mr. Rush, I'd always heard that you were a peaceful sort of man. I suppose it goes to show you can't trust the opinions of others. I've built a world of peace, and the supposed peaceful man dislikes it. You've built a world of quiet, Negan replied. A prison of quiet. I won't just stand here and pretend I haven't seen it. Before I leave, I'm throwing the doors open. Pandershi's lip curved. Pandershi's eye narrowed. The lightest, quietest gasp of laughter came from his throat. All of these movements were packed with nothing but malice. I rather doubt that, he said. Negan gripped his sword tight. And why is that? Oh, Pandershi chuckled. It's rather simple. In the midst of the burnt battlefield, Zephyr Pandershi spoke, and Zephyr Pandershi spoke, and Zephyr Pandershi spoke. And with each word that passed through his lips, the shadow of despair grew heavy on the face of Negan Rush. What? What'd he do?
Oh. He said some shit.
Negan emerged from the undergrowth before Hazley, his sword sheathed at his side, his gaze downcast. Hazley leapt up from where she'd been waiting for him on the grass, running forward while completely ignoring Puck by her side. Did Puck save her?
Yeah, he was like, don't you have better stuff to do than fucking crashing out here?
Yeah. Did you win? She asked excitedly, looking up at him. Did you get him? Negan didn't answer. He didn't even stop. He just kept walking as if he hadn't seen her. His fists were clenched, his breathing heavy. A vast weight had settled on his back. Negan? Hazley asked, turning her head as he stalked past her. What happened? He answered without looking at her. My business is concluded here. I'll be leaving now. His words were dull and flat. Hazley blinked. But, huh? You were going to free everyone, right? What do you mean you're leaving? Negan stopped, and for a second it looked like he wanted to say more, but no words passed his lips. For the first time, Hazley realized just how tightly he was clenching his fists. Oh, I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Blood was dripping down from where his nails were piercing his palms. Pandershi did something to their bodies, so like if they ever leave the planet, they die, didn't he? So he can't. With a whir, Puck stepped forward. This is fine, Negan Rush, it said calmly, almost comfortingly. This is how it should have been from the beginning. Take her home, automatic, Negan muttered. Just do it. All right? Of course. My purpose is the happiness of humans. Negan! Hazley cried, stepping forward. What are you talking about? Where are you going? For Hazley, the world had suddenly turned upside down. No, the world had stopped. The momentum that Negan Rush had promised to bring to Nermut had suddenly vanished all at once. He couldn't just leave. He couldn't. For the first time, Negan turned to look at Hazley. She could see that he was biting his lip now, too, and blood was slowly dribbling down his chin. His gray eyes had always seemed separated from the world, but now they shone with a very human pain. Goodbye, Hazley, he said hoarsely, taking a step forward as well. In the last moment before he turned away again, he crouched down and clapped a reassuring hand on her shoulder, and as quietly as he could, he whispered, I will come back, he said, with others. And then, without another word, he turned and left. Hazley never saw him again, because Kojiro killed his ass.
Yeah, he went home and immediately he was like, he got murked by Kojiro.
He went home and immediately Kojiro was like, how about a duel like old times? And he was like, of course.
Like, yeah, okay, we'll do the duel. But then I got told you about something.
Wait, didn't he mention something like that? Like he had something he wanted to say?
Oh.
Man, that's so sad.
He was so good with
Man.
the sword, but it didn't matter.
And only... Oh, man. Man. That's so sad. Are you happy you wrote that?
I am, yeah.
Does it bring you joy from the bottom of your heart?
It was an exciting chapter I felt when I wrote it.
It is. It was really good. It was just sad. I'm sad now.
Because
Can you make me
Lisa
happy?
kills him in the flashback, and then he goes to the future and Mizazi's gone.
Can you write the happy IF story where they get to leave the planet and nothing
But
bad
if that
happens?
happens, then maybe Mizazi doesn't exist. Is that happy for you? Is a Mizazi
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
They are both evil for being born.
Rurum asks, was the Supreme after Grand Boss still a Zaylan Morhan adjacent person, a member, child, a member, etc., or were they outside the original group?
I would say they're probably outside the original group. I've not got anyone locked in my mind, but that's where it starts to drift outside of the Zaylan more, and I would say.
I gotcha. JT asks, what was October Jones's ability?
We will find out. I would say it was similar to what McCoy has, but it's slightly different. It's less morbid, I would say.
It was probably like inorganic matter or something, like rocks.
Now, maybe it still involves corpses, I will say, but it wasn't a matter of corpses on my resources that turn into whatever I want them to.
Yeah, maybe it was like analyze the autopsy the body.
It would be something more akin to speak to dead in like
Yeah.
D&D or whatever it is.
Yeah. Rurum asks, do the spectrum-colored squads and their 100-ish members present at Ultraviolet Tower for the Nine fight represent a majority of their forces, or were there a lot of agents off-world still?
I would say it's a blow, but it's not as if all the CIA agents are at CIA headquarters. It's the same sort of thing.
I gotcha.
So it's still bad if like the CIA headquarters got like killed by one guy, but it's not like the end of the CIA, I would say.
Rockshark asks, aside from all the major characters in the Ultraviolet Tower squads, how many Aether users were on Serendipity during the attack in general?
Jesus, a fuck ton, I would say. Hundreds of thousands just weren't involved. It's a big planet.
Yeah. They're like, I'm an Aether user. I'll do something with my strong punch move, and then they go up and he's like unleashing the beast.
What is
Yeah.
this? He's like,
They're fucking throwing buildings at each other. It's like the meme of the wizard in the Wizard Wars.
There's like a guy walks up and he's like, 17th branch, Guru Kasampa. He's like, my legs won't move.
My Aether abilities are Discount Quantum King and Strong Bullet. I gotta get out of here.
Meanwhile, I have to fight the 50th branch. And my body won't do what I tell it to.
It's like that fucking scene in JJK with like Kid Now you're running up and he just sees Toji.
Yeah.
I've heard there's some pretty strong Aether users fighting, but I'm gonna be the next head of the clan.
Doing that. He's drug arm walking past.
Yeah, that was fucking Samael walking up and seeing Fei Long.
Dragon and Yoslav like, I want to see that pathetic special officer who's Samael walking past. He's automatics.
The fucking Toji face!
Yeah.
He's a special.
All the fucking automatics are also doing the same pose in the same Toji.
Someone please draw that, I'm begging you. Rurum asks, how much of Serendipity was actually affected by the attack? Like, is this New York City's destroyed or America is now gone?
I would say it's closer to New York City being destroyed, but it's still... when Nyan set it to go, it was pretty indiscriminate fire.
Damn.
Well, I would say it's a blow, but it's not like... It's bad, but it's not like terminal.
It's more of a tragedy than, like, the planet's over. Lan asks...
They did a Marvel Comics where the Kingpin was crying about it.
There's a lot of Aether questions, by the way. People were
People
curious.
do want to know so much.
Lan asks, besides the Shisha, does the Supreme have a palace or HQ on Azum Ha or something?
Yeah, this is the Supreme Palace. Whether it's sort of a coin flip, basically, whether a given Supreme actually uses the palace as their like seat, or if the mobile Supreme uses the Shishanaga. And last couple have mostly used the Shishanaga, so it's real dusty in that palace.
And then we'll end it off with this last one. Lan asks, does Neverwire work against Aether armaments?
Yes, it does.
Alright, we'll cut it off there for now, but thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye!